So you've been dumped by someone you loved, or you had to break it off with someone you valued greatly and it's tearing you up inside. Now you want to get over the hurt and get on with your life. Well, here's a tip. Don't turn on the radio or the television or Spotify or anywhere popular music can be heard. Because when you're in a state of romantic despair, you realize every other song on the radio is a breakup song. And that's what this episode of the Mount Rushmore podcast is about. Hey, I'm Jeff, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
And we are here today to debate the most ubiquitous breakup songs. Richard, this was your idea. Why did you choose it?
There is one artist in particular who I was listening to his catalog and realized, boy, he's got a lot of breakup songs.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of real rough ones, too.
Okay.
So that's going to be
Jean-Philippe Sousa.
Yes. The Washington Post March. Little people do not know the backstory behind that. It was
The tuba gets me every time on that one.
absolutely.
Okay, well, Richard chose the topic, and I would also say of all these crowdsourced topics out on Facebook, this one had a torrent of emotional outpour from our followers on our Facebook page, and it's so exciting to hear all these points of view, and I'm going to share them during the thing. So
And
Richard,
also, I'd like to point out that we're recording 2 days
Yeah.
after Halloween.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing what people oftentimes do during a breakup and shoving candy in
Shoving
my
candy.
face for pretty much the entire episode. So
That's
just
very
be
fitting.
aware
Very
of that.
fitting. Very fitting. Okay, Richard chose it. Michael, start.
I found that there are just these two sides to breakup songs, the I fucked up side and the you fucked up side.
Oh, wow.
All start with the, I guess it would be an I fucked up
Okay.
song, which is Neil Sedaka's Breaking Up Is Hard to Do.
Oh, wow.
From 1962. And it's funny because it's like a ditty. It's a real sweet song. It's kind of goofy, but then all songs from like 1964 and
Yeah.
before were all just kind of goofy and
Yeah.
silly before like the Beatles did drugs.
Our buddy Anderson Dadu has that listed as his honorable mention, so you're going to get double points for that one.
No,
there.
he should get like 1.5 points. If it's
1.5
honorable
points.
mention.
That's fine.
You two, if we have to go to a mediator to get you guys back together. Okay, well, why did you pick it?
It's like 2 minutes long, and it's just this song about this guy who's just talking about this girl, and they broke up, and he's realizing how hard it is. And
Yeah.
he just wants to get back together again. And there was another song from 1962 that I thought of, which is Big Girls Don't Cry.
Oh, yeah.
Frankie Valli and the Teenagers song.
Yeah.
And in that song, Frankie Valli sings about...
Four Seasons, not the
I'm
teenagers.
sorry, the Four Seasons.
Don't want to get the angry email from all the Frankie Valli fans.
Sings about how he's kind of been a dick. He's
Yeah.
like, he sings about being cruel. Neil Sedaka, if you even look at a picture of him, it looks like the sweetest, doughiest faced, like
He's such a
goofball.
mensch. She's like, yeah.
And it's like, it's a song that's like, we broken up, and I didn't realize how sad I could be.
Uh-huh.
This is awful. I just want to get back together again. I didn't know it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
And I think that it is not as... I swear to God, Richard, we are going to break up this podcast if you don't unwrap that candy more silently.
What are you talking about? It's a Kit Kat. It's delicious.
Neil Sedaka, who seems as a Lothario.
I swear to God, Richard, if you don't stop barking, we're going to break up again.
It's a Wolfman night. You know it's a full moon.
I think that it's one of those strange breakup songs where it's like, oh, they'll get back together.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice enough guy. It seems like it's going to work out.
Yes.
But I like a nice, short, sweet song.
And the lyrics might be longing, but the tune could have been a song about, I love ice cream and taffy, because it's like a super happy-go-lucky.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Which brings to mind everything the Smiths ever did. Okay, so
Exactly.
Richard, what's your starter?
Okay, so I might as well go with the person who I mentioned as the kind of onus for this episode. Okay. Someone who you already mentioned.
Oh.
That would be one Mr. Elvis Costello.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
And the song would be I Hope You're Happy Now.
Okay.
Off of his album Blood and Chocolate.
Oh, this is the Thatcher one, is it? No, that's...
No, you're thinking
Tramp
of
the Dirt
Accidents
Down.
Will Happen by about another dozen of his songs.
Okay.
Just a very to say it's an acidic song, you're pretty much describing every Elvis Costello song. So I know I'm not going on too much of a limb here. But even within his catalog, it is quite biting and cynical. I don't really know what all of the lyrics mean.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Costello song, so I'm not supposed to know what like a matador with his pork swords while we all die of laughter. I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah.
But taken as kind of a whole, it's basically this song of kind of twisting the idea of I hope you're happy now because you're with somebody else. A lot of times you hear that in a song and it's sort of taken as a very like, well, I hope you're happy. I hope that you're happy now, even if though my heart's broken. And this is more sort of like said
More
through
acidic.
like sneered, like sort of gritted teeth. Like, yeah, I hope you're happy now.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of with the implication being that you won't be at some point because this guy is a total tool.
Yeah.
And you're going to look back on this and wish you'd never left me.
It's funny. There seems to be definitely like a, I don't know if you'd say it's like a gender split, but I've like just looking for kind of like these Mount Rushmore type songs, these idyllic songs. It's a lot of the guys are the ones that have fucked up.
Yeah.
Begging people to come back, and women are singing about how they're stronger and better, and
Right.
I will get past you, and you are. I'm glad that we have broken up. And then at work over the loudspeaker, this trend hasn't changed, where like in our break room they'll play like pop songs like top 40, and all the guys are singing about how hey baby, we've broken up and I just want you to be happy, and hey, things were great, and if you ever decide to come back, I'll be here for you, but hey, you got it, you be you, I'll be here over here, just wait, just kind of waiting for you.
Yeah, this is very much the opposite. This is a fuck you type song.
Uh-huh.
Fuck you. The bridge is basically, I hope you're happy now like you're supposed to be, and I know that this will hurt you more than it'll hurt me. So that pretty much sums up the song and pretty much most of Elvis Costello's back catalog, I think, in 2 lines.
Yeah. His ability to put such a fine point on the sword of hurt.
Subtlety is not normally his strength.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's super cool. Yeah, I think Elvis Costello probably has 2 or 3 best of albums worth of these kind of
absolutely.
breakup
That's
songs.
certainly his trade.
Winfield, what's your second choice? What are your categories again? I fucked up, you fucked up?
It's kind of, I've found they've fallen into these 2 sides.
Yeah, okay.
And this is more of a premature breakup song. My next choice is These Boots Are Made for Walking.
Oh, nice.
Nancy Sinatra, 1968.
Yeah.
And this is like this dire warning song that she is issuing to her man at the time.
Yeah.
And the song's predicate is just based on, you keep lying, you say you're going to stop lying, you say you're going to change, but you're not changing. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, we're breaking up. Mm-hmm. I'm out of here. These boots are made for walking. And one of these days, these boots will walk all over you. And the minimal research I did about the song was it was written by Lee Hazelwood.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he was originally going to sing it, and then saying that this really isn't. This is too tough of a song for a girl to do. And not Nancy Sinatra kind of like pushed him around. And said, no, this is the perfect song.
Punched him in the face.
For a woman to sing, and the perfect song to.
I'm gonna ring a ding ding on you.
broke one of his thumbs and said, "Do you like the other one?"
I think he and Nancy had a long time relationship too. Like he was known for somewhat of a
Svengali-ish,
yeah,
sort
almost
of
like
thing.
Sonny Bono, in that let's just say his physical attractiveness did not win him all the affection. It was all his Svengali kind of producer skills and things like that, like songwriting. Yeah. My favorite memory of that song is how and it empowering women was at the VFW in Minneapolis. That song would come on in the karaoke night, and every woman in the bar would get to the front and just sing along to that song while pointing at every jerky guy.
There's like 3 songs that seem to fall into that category. It's I Will Survive, and it's You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the 3, like, you get up there, I'm gonna unearth
I believe this harkens back, by the way, to the songs that drunken women sing at karaoke episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of overlap between these those two categories.
But this song is just great. Like I love the threat of the breakup. I love that it's different than it isn't post breakup. It isn't we have broken up and this is why. This is
the breakup.
if you don't turn your shit around, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't hear that all that often.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun choice. I just want to mention the crowdsource of answers and how diverse the answers were, and I was really pleased to see that there were no duplicates. There were no duplicates of answers in the request that I made out on Facebook for folks to let us know their. I guess I don't know if it was favorite breakup songs or the most potent or powerful ones, but there definitely was a. You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette was in there, so that was among them. All right, man, Freddie, what do you got?
All right, so my second one, if Elvis Costello is known for the aggressive and assholey breakup song, this next artist is known for the heartbroken breakup song, and that would be Patsy Cline. Patsy Cline's crazy.
Yeah.
It was written by Willie Nelson, a song that Patsy Cline originally didn't want to record. She basically heard the original version by Willie Nelson, and I'm paraphrasing here. I don't believe this is in the movie, but I believe she said, "What the fuck is this?" And she heard Willie Nelson singing.
Yeah.
Because, it's Willie Nelson. It's crazy. It's all like weird behind the beat, and everything's kind of Willie Nelson-ified.
Yeah.
But her producer, Owen Bradley, convinced her to record the song. And by the time she got done doing the first take, she was in tears.
Oh, wow.
Kind of realized that this is a potent and powerful song about not being able to let go. And I think that that's something that's a through line through a lot of, especially in the 60s, these kind of songs about I wish I could let you go, but every time I think about you, I wind up I fall to pieces, thing, I guess. But Crazy also falls into that landscape. And her voice just had this aching and this longing to it that I think few voices in the pop world, and that's even though she was a country singer, I think she certainly falls into that pop country kind of category that few voices could really match in terms of like that ache of loss and heartbreak and you just want to give her a hug, really.
Yeah. She seemed to have a little bit of masculinity to her voice.
Right.
That may be one of the reasons she could take a song that Willie wrote and dispatch it pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. My brother used to joke around about like just driving around. We'd have a cruise in Fresno where we'd go cruise up and down the Blackstone Boulevard, the main road. And you would go do that every weekend, and you would just thump usually whatever hip hop was popular at the time. And you'd go back and forth and whistle at the girls and see if you can get them to stop. It was, very American graffiti, even though it was the 90s. My brother and I used to joke that it wouldn't be funny if we just got in there and just cranked Patsy Cline at full volume just to see what the hell would happen. Because that's like the opposite of what would pick up a teenage chick.
What one of the observations I felt was that, I noticed there was one artist double, and all the crowdsourcing, there was one artist that had two different choices, and that was Prince. And somebody chose Nothing Compares to You, and How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore. Abel Arias chose How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore. And a pop artist singing a breakup song seems like almost like the most unreliable narrator you can imagine, because here's somebody who has probably an unending amount of opportunities for romantic interactions. So hearing somebody,
especially the male ones, I think,
especially the male ones. So as a touring entertainer, they probably have after every show this line of people waiting to give them some kind of affection.
Right.
So the fact though that like a guy like Prince probably has maybe 100 breakup songs in all his recorded repertoire.
Sure.
It's like,
you got to have a lot of girlfriends to have a lot of breakups.
Yeah, I guess
have
so.
A lot of breakups to have a lot of breakup songs.
And it does almost seem not inauthentic, but it's kind of funny how much we believe that these people.
Well, I always think that's that's so interesting. I always think that is such a strange thing about musicians that we take them for face value. We take the things that they say, these songs that are written, as if these are experiences that they've directly had, versus a novelist who is writing something, who is just making it up. Let's say they're a sci-fi novelist, or like you don't read, an obvious one. You don't read
Hemingway,
a Tolkien book, and say, oh. Did he experience this with the elves?
What are these elves based off in his personal life?
But it's like, or he just used his imagination. And singers, we always assume that whatever they put out is some experience they've had. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not. Maybe like, a lot of pop songs too are written by other people than the artist that is singing the song.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe they just write some catchy lyrics that go together.
Right.
And it's up to the pop artist to put it out there as their experience, but like, maybe not.
Yeah, I think ever since the
unreliable narrator is a good way to put it.
Yeah,
the singer-songwriter movement, I think, has led us to believe that they're singing about personal experience, and of course they're not.
And I'll just bring this full circle. I think Patsy Cline was incredible at making you believe she was singing about her personal experiences, even though this was Willie Nelson writing the song.
Yeah, and then ultimately the topics are. Popular music doesn't really range that broadly from that far outside of happiness, sorrow, boy, girl, moon, June kind of stuff. But I think we're about to go into our halftime.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and at this point, I'm just going to roll the dice, and I'm going to mention some of the very unique answers that I got when this was put out onto our Facebook. And Gene Pitney, 24 Hours from Tulsa, from Sam Ballaghan Hopkins.
Gene, it's your brother?
Yeah.
Gene Pitney had some really good breakup songs.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
I also want to say my friend Mary Stanford, who is one of the hosts of the Drinking Up podcast, is also a very talented vocal performer. And she says, I got to go full musical theater and turn to Mr. Stephen Sondheim for the realist one. And that is We Do Not Belong Together, which is putting a very fine point on the title of a song. Some really, what I loved about this crowdsource was it really helped us get to know our listeners a lot and finding out some songs that they feel very vulnerable about. Liz Fair Divorce Song from Andrea Albright, my friend. A very intelligent and ardent follower of the podcast and one-time guest, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton was on the show?
Yeah, Dolly Parton. Always love you. Actually, Sarah Reeve is who submitted
Never heard
that.
of her. Is that a little bad if your wife is submitting breakup songs to your podcast? That's a bad sign, I think.
Kelly Davis Ficklin, Operator by Jim Croce, and Against All Odds by Phil Collins. And my buddy Frank Haid, talented author, Elvis Presley's Separate Ways. So we'll get to some more of these later on. Sarah Reeve also. Sarah Reeve, Divorce. Oh my gosh!
What?
I'm not joking.
I am talking to my lawyer tomorrow.
Oh my god! I think
covering my ass.
You just got dumped via.
I believe I did
via podcast suggestion. And with that, we're going to go to our halftime and ask you to be like those who responded to our crowdsource and get in a dialogue with us, to go on our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and suggest future podcast topics. Those who have suggested in the past have been guests on our podcast. You don't have to, but you could, maybe. And you could also go on our social sites and then suggest alternate answers. What did we miss that you think would be up there on the Mount Rushmore of that topic? This is your time to let your voice be heard. You could also let your voice be heard by rating and reviewing past episodes of our podcast out on iTunes or on Stitcher or iHeartRadio or Spotify. We're probably on Spotify now, are we? Maybe? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify. So you could go and let the world know what you think about this podcast by leaving a review. That would be super cool. Of the podcast or of the episodes? I think it's just the podcast. So we are back. And we're trying to keep it together. We just, we're emotionally in a vulnerable place right now.
You tell him a little sniffly?
A little sniffly?
It's because I got a cold.
Oh, I thought it was because he's sad.
No.
No, because he's just learned about his impending divorce via Facebook suggestions.
which
for our
gives me
podcast.
allergies.
It gives- I'm allergic to divorce.
Breaking on the hives.
I'm allergic to financial ruin. Okay.
Richard goes on there and unlikes.
Yeah, I'm like...
Puts a sad face
Sad
underneath
face.
there. Can be used in
What
a court
I'm
of law.
I'm just gonna go posting. What a horror! What a bad day, you guys. ...
Vague booking. What's
Yes.
wrong, Richard? Sending you light and love. Oh, thanks. Winfield, your third choice.
Pictures of You by The Cure from 1989.
Oh, wow.
From the 1989 album Disintegration, which is like their heaviest, their saddest, their most, I don't know. I think it's their most interesting work. Maybe also one of their most popular. Maybe Wish was a little more popular. Got to think about that for a second.
I think Pictures of You was more popular.
Just Like Heaven was their biggest.
Just Like Heaven was their biggest, I guess, single hit. And actually, Robert Smith has talked about that recently, that he couldn't believe he wrote this song and he's never going to write anything.
Sorry, 100% Friday I'm in Love is a bigger song than any of those.
I thought Just Like Heaven was the biggest chart. I think that was actually 40 on the charts.
I'm gonna look this up while you guys talk.
I got a computer.
Because now I'm deeply concerned
Curecast.
about this. Yeah.
Curecast.
Pictures of You is like a post-breakup song, and it's sung from this point of view of the narrator, Robert Smith. Whether this actually happened or not, who knows? He's been married to like the same woman since this song came out, and was with her like since they were teenagers.
Oh, wow.
So but who knows if he's had other relationships within that time.
Yeah.
But this song on this album is all about him, Robert Smith, or the narrator, whatever, looking back at this relationship he's had with this woman and how wonderful it was, and how these very vivid, distinct memories, these very well described images of this woman and specific things, and all he has left is these memories of her. All he has left is these, as the title of the song says, are these pictures of you.
Yeah.
And that's all he can hang on to. He's not trying to get back together with her. He's not really lamenting the breakup. He's lamenting the relationship in a way.
Yeah.
He's obviously it's a song all about missing this person, but it's not a song that's filled with like this existential dread, or it's not an I fucked up song. It is a look how good this was song, and I'm mourning this loss of this relationship, not I can't believe we've broken up, which I think is another I guess it's within his oeuvre of kind of things that he sings about. He's doesn't come off as a very angry person. I think he's that's why they call him goth, even though he's not goth. He's just kind of heavy feelings.
Kind of mopey.
He's got big feelings.
Yeah.
Robert Smith has big feelings.
Guy with big feelings.
And big hair to match his hair. Yeah.
And I've looked it up. I think you have Richard Love Song.
Yeah, I say we're all wrong.
Number 2.
We're a bunch of idiots here. We all fucked
Friday
up.
I'm in Love way ahead of unless that's on, I don't know if that's the Hot 100 chart.
Yeah, that's the Billboard chart. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Love Song number 2. Who knew?
I do feel like
And that was a song that he wrote as a wedding present for his wife Mary.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Adorable. Well, also a cheapskate.
I mean, flash forward to next week. We are next week's episode is the Mount Rushmore of extravagant gifts.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Is the number 2 song The Cure has ever written an extravagant gift or not?
Maybe
or,
if it would have gone to number 1, it would
Okay.
make the list.
That'd be funny. Just Morrissey wrote me a number 1 song. What do you get? The evolution of a breakup and how different stages. Like it sounds like Nancy Sinatra was in the kind of empowered "screw you" stage, like Gloria Gaynor was when she did "I Will Survive."
Yeah, maybe I should have listed all of my choices that way. It should have been the Nancy Sinatra. I'm gonna leave. I'm not leaving yet. Then it's the Neil Sedaka. Hey, this is pretty good. We should get back together.
Yeah.
And then it's the Robert Smith. Oh, look how beautiful you are, and look at these. My images of you in my head will never be tarnished because you were like this statue to me, and all of these wonderful memories. And then we'll get to my 4th choice. But I should have told a story. I'm a bad songwriter,
in the
I
stages.
guess.
Yeah, the stages.
That's why you never had a number 2 single.
That's right.
Okay. I'm excited. We have extravagant gifts. We're gonna have that to look forward to next week. And Manfredi, what's your third?
My third one is, now I had a couple of songs on there that are, Hope You're Happy Now is kind of a rocker. Crazy, certainly more in the ballad for I love me some pop music, especially some pop rock. And this one certainly hews more modern, and then by modern I mean made in the 2000s at least, than I usually go for. Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson.
Okay.
This song's a goddamn jam.
Yeah.
This is a banger.
Yeah.
Through and through. Written by Dr. Luke and Max Martin, the Swedish hit songwriting team.
Yeah.
Originally,
like Backstreet Boys.
yeah, they did
guys?
a lot of the Backstreet Boys and kind of NSYNC and that kind of world. This was actually a song that they had written wanting to get a bit out of that world, and they originally were skeptical about having an American Idol winner sing it because they thought that she might pull it back into that kind of schmaltzy world of pop. Yeah. They originally had written it for Pink, actually, and she wound up turning it down. Oh. So you can kind of hear in the song where you can hear where Pink probably would have also done a really good job on this. Hilary Duff turned it down because she didn't think she could hit the high notes.
Oh, wow.
Kelly Clarkson kind of took a listen to it, and there's basically thought, yeah, this is the right song for me. She'd already recorded all of the songs for her album, went back in the studio just to record this. This is kind of this is definitely in the fuck you mode.
Yeah.
It's definitely in the Nancy Sinatra, these boots are made for walking kind of world. I mean, this is basically, we broke up, and you know what? Feels pretty good. It's kind of the exact opposite of breaking up is hard to do. It turns out in this song's case, at least, breaking up, not so difficult. And I just think the whole, and the other thing about the writing of the song that I learned doing the research, apparently they kind of got the idea listening to Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and they said they loved the song, but they hated the fact that they couldn't just write a pop chorus. Like the song doesn't have a real like pop chorus. It just kind of goes between like the two parts, and it doesn't. You keep waiting for it to have like this big kind of like pop sort of chorus to it, and it never really hits it. So they decided to write a song that was in that vein, but also had a big kind of triumphant sort of pop chorus at the end of it.
Yeah,
so
Yes didn't write like a pop song until maybe It's Bliss.
Yeah.
Like until like Zero or something. Like their first couple of albums, I mean, especially that first album was not, it was like that New York 2001 rock.
Right. Yeah.
Just,
exactly.
Why would you expect like Maps to be like a pop? That's such a strange comment.
Because they're Swedish,
so
I think
thrown
that
by
probably has something to do with it.
I'm so thrown by that.
And like I said, there's a reason why an artist like Ted Leo can do this song, and it works well for him, because I think it's just got the bones of a great, really indie pop song. That just happens to have enough pop sheen to it to have made it palatable for the general world. And like I said, it's just a fucking banger.
Do you like that when that happens, when like good like indie rock or just generic kind of alternative rock musician will take like a pop song and just really do it do a different take and do a really good service. I remember seeing I want to hear this Ted Leo version, but who's Talking Heads? David Byrne. I saw him in concert, and he did like a version of like "Crazy in Love," Beyonce song, and like the crowd went crazy, and it was just like one of those like, oh well, I guess David Byrne can do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and
maybe he can do whatever, or maybe it's just that was just a good song for him.
I think it's probably a combination of the two. I think that if you've got a really good pop song, has to have a good kind of chassis underneath it, so to speak. Yeah. So that an artist like David Byrne can kind of reconstruct it his own way, but it's still kind of built on this really solid structure.
Yeah. That's an interesting topic. Maybe we put that out later on. People want us to, if you want us to talk about music ever again, those covers, or we've done covers.
We've done covers before. Maybe we do unexpected covers.
Unexpected covers, yeah. Whitfield, your
well,
final
my
choice.
last one is right in line with the Kelly Clarkson song. It's "We're Never Getting Back Together" by Taylor Swift from
Oh, wow.
2012.
Did
And-
not expect that
Why
from
were
you.
looking right at me?
And this, this is, I think it was
Did
one.
my wife also suggest that one?
It was, it was an unexpected song for her because she was kind of like this, teenage country phenom, and all of a sudden turned around and became this pop star at a traditional kind of pop star out of nowhere, and has since gone on to become
Yeah.
either the
Because
biggest
money.
the biggest pop star
Yeah.
going today. But this song in particular has that same sort of like fuck you energy.
Mm-hmm.
It is like, if you imagine like Neil Sedaka on the other end of like, hey, let's get back together, and this song is all about no.
Yeah.
You've
Take
tried
that,
that.
yeah.
You keep coming in. You keep saying, I'm going to change, and trust me, and everything's fine. And hers is just flat out, no. This is, you keep calling, and we are never, ever getting back together. And this song it's a good little pop rock song. And I just think it really, one, catapulted her career in a lot of ways into a different market. And two, it's anthemic.
Yeah.
And I think those are important on these female empowerment breakup songs. And I think it's right up there.
It almost seems like these Kelly Clarkson or Max Martin and Taylor Swift are script writers, and they are writing the scripts that women want to say, that scorned lovers want to say to the person who hurt them, to the point where you would dial the phone, turn that song on, and hold it up to the speaker while you call your ex and let them speak vicariously the words that you wish you could have said.
Have you been? Have either of you guys watched Barry?
Oh yeah,
Richard.
yeah,
Do you watch it through this last season?
yeah.
So, spoiler alert for everybody. Skip forward a minute if you don't want to hear anything about the second season of
Oh,
Barry.
the second season? There's another season?
The second season now.
Oh,
Oh, is that bad? Sorry, is that bad podcasting?
That's bad podcasting.
Sorry.
Basically, there's an acting scene where a woman is kind of unloading her memories of this fight she's had with her boyfriend. This isn't really going to spoil anything, but so she has it in her head that's scripted, and then she finds out that it didn't really go down this way, and she suppressed all this memory, and then she acts it out in front of the class, and in front of the class, it's raw and emotional, it's very truthful, and then when she gets on stage in front of a bigger audience, it turns into very much this Taylor Swifty sort of, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to be brave, and everyone eats it up.
yeah.
Like the facade of it, this made up story of it, is what helps her in her career, not the truth of how she was.
Oh, yeah.
Took the guy back and was very, very not strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I just talking about this right now, it feels like, oh, this is that facade song of like,
Yeah.
I'm going to stand up and like you said, I'm going to hold up my phone, but that's,
Yes.
this is written by two other guys, not her. So
Yeah.
like it's,
Yeah.
that's the truth behind it.
That I think entertainment is often in cinema or television where we watch other people be as strong as we like to be, or grow into that strength throughout the evolution of a film or a series or something. And that sure is music can be that way, especially in these songs that we've kind of identified are in the recovery part of the breakup, the stages of denial or recovery. They're in that final phase, the FU phase. So dudes, we have okay, let me just
One more.
one more. Oh, sorry. Okay, Richard, before you go, I want you to tell me if you've ever been dumped.
No.
Have you ever had emotional romantic pain?
Oh, sure. High school
Okay.
was you just described high school.
Adolescence.
But I never. You have to have a girlfriend to get dumped.
Okay, yeah.
So there was that in high
the
school.
longing.
He's 1-0.
He's one of that's pretty good. Man.
Undefeated.
Big champ.
Exactly.
That's absolutely great. Well, depending on how reliable those song choices.
Exactly. Maybe that record may be changing, Michael, depending on those Sarah's
Facebook
choices
posts.
there. Yeah.
How do you feel that impacts your ability to weigh in a very effective way on this topic. Because I think you've done a very good job.
Oh, I think I know what it's like to be spurned.
Yeah.
So I think that you can get to breakup pretty.
Oh yeah.
Those two, unrequited love
Yes.
and breakup, are pretty
Yeah.
similar emotions.
Yeah.
Richard, he hates all your choices. This is the sugar before the medicine.
No.
Hey, I've got one more choice to hone in on
This
and
better
figure
be
out
good.
what Jeff Hopkins, Matthew Sweet.
Oh
no.
shit. Okay. Censure. It's not Michael. It's not you. It's me.
From Batman 66, when Egghead broke up with...
Oh, I love this choice.
People know that the Batusi was actually a
breakup
breakup song.
dance.
Yeah.
I'm so easily. You play me like a fiddle. What's your song? What's the final choice?
All right, so my final choice is, I think, maybe the male counterpart to Patsy Cline in the 60s in terms of big hit breakup song after big hit breakup song, and that'd be Roy Orbison
Oh, okay.
with Crying,
Yeah.
a song that he wrote based on a personal breakup that he had.
It's strange that you've chosen two songs, Crying and Crazy, that are also Aerosmith songs.
Oh.
Yeah, neither of these songs had Alicia Silverstone in their videos.
and Liv Tyler.
Or Liv Tyler.
Brian Green chose "Only the Lonely" by Roy Orbison.
Okay,
but
we're
I
in the
think
ballpark.
I think he had the. But was he Lonesome Roy Orbison? He had a.
Yeah,
had
that's
that
what I
part
mean.
of
He
his
had
moniker. Yeah.
he had sort of a monopoly on this in the
Yeah.
early to mid 60s.
Oh yeah.
And he wrote this song, he said, specifically because he realized there weren't really any pop songs or rock songs at the time that involved guys crying. It was always the girl who was the cryee
Yeah.
in these songs, and he kind of wanted to prove that no, it doesn't mean that you're a wimp if you cry. That just means you're sensitive.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting because if you flash forward a couple of years to the Beatles, a lot of their sort of romantic kind of breakup-y type songs involve them singing about them crying.
Yeah. That's what made me think the Beatles were the first male girl group, because
Really?
they had a lot of emotional vulnerability, or they harkened back to, I think, Motown and Goffin and King and
Sure.
Carole King. You know, they had, no, I guess Carole would be after them, but yeah, they had a lot of vulnerability.
And I don't think that it's a coincidence that they were huge Roy Orbison fans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the fact that, in fact, their first major UK tour sort of when the
Supporting Roy,
was supporting
yeah.
Roy
Yeah.
Orbison, and that's kind of when the original Beatlemania in the UK happened, was during that. But yeah, they were supporting Roy Orbison, and apparently he was just a total mensch and like a real great guy, and helped them like kind of sort out what it's like to be a pop star and figure all that
Yeah.
out. But I think musically as well, I think a lot of where they went lyrically with a lot of their early songs, I think definitely falls into that Roy
Yeah.
Orbison playbook. And again, like Patsy Cline, someone who just had a voice that just ate
Yeah.
and sounded of loneliness and heartbreak. And this song in particular, I chose it because it's, I think, of all the Roy Orbison songs, it's certainly the most symphonic. I mean, it's certainly to the point of seeing by the end of the song, it's almost reaching an aria
Yeah.
type quality to it, and especially with the notes that he's hitting at the end, it's almost more operatic than it is pop at that point.
Yeah. So and I think, I don't know if it was after this recording of this song, but like Roy had so much personal tragedy in his life through spurned relationships, and I think he did his children die in a fire or something.
One of
like
them
that.
did, at
yeah,
least,
just like, oh my God, just the guy who lived it so much. Was it Crying or Only the Lonely?
It's Crying.
Crying, okay. Yeah, because Crying had just the strings that are underscoring the end is just so
And he's hitting
powerful.
those like just huge like
Yeah.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, some great choices, guys. I got to hold it together for this judging part. I'm just kind of living moment to moment right now. Do I go? Do I think I need to? Do I smell? Should I clean these sweatpants that I've been wearing for the last week?
Depends what you've been doing in
Okay.
said
All right.
sweatpants.
Okay. So let's make some choices here. They were all good, but before we make those choices, let's go out to our Facebook crowdsource and I thought some fun, unusual things, or things that I didn't expect, were a guy like Ryan McNicholas choosing "You Are My Sunshine," the Johnny Cash version. I thought that was really unique. And my friend Whitney Sweeney choosing Harry Nilsson's Without You.
Ooh.
And claiming you can belt it out between your crying jags as being a potent reason to
Better
choose it.
version. Was it that, or was it the Badfinger version? I know which one she chose, but I was...
Yeah.
Jeff Hopkins, which one do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm a Nilsson fan, so I think I would go with him.
Sure.
Jacob Dubois, Unbreak My Heart by Tony Braxton. With a second by our friend Kevin Dudley. So here's some dudes who are blasting some Braxton. My friend Jim Babcock, Anything by Air Supply, which is kind of novel. Only the Lonely, Brian Greene. Janet Campbell, my friend, also chose Divorce by Tammy Wynette. And the former Mrs. Manfredi, Sarah Reed.
Is your friend also divorcing
yeah,
me?
she's divorcing you too.
That's happening.
My family member, Paulie Bilski, Song for the Dumped by Ben Folds. Sean Bernard had a little Harry Connick Jr. drifting. My buddy Gordon Gilgas brought up a unique angle on this, and the whole album Trace by Son Volt, he considers a breakup album. Basically between Jay Farrar and Jeff Tweedy.
Right.
So
interesting.
I think it's an interesting angle on that because I never thought of Jay Farrar as the kind of the emotional, nostalgic one in that relationship because it seemed like Jeff Tweedy was trying to get out from under Jay Farrar's kind of...
I think Jay Farrar's kind of the spurned one in this.
Yeah, well, I think he's the nominal loser in this because...
Well, I don't think there's any question about
Jeff
that.
Tweedy's had such a big career, but... Daniel DeVoe, I Can't Make You Love Me, Bonnie Raitt.
That's a good one.
That's a pretty good one.
That's one where you want to have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And a little cry.
Wes Haluli, the entire Forever Blue album from Chris Isaak. I could really support that. Rachel Grubb, Angie by the Rolling Stones, of course. A lot of great choices from Ken Stewart. This year's Love by David Gray. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart by the Bee Gees. Patrick Canaday, One More Night. Phil Collins. So those are some great choices.
That's right. If you were going to go full album, I think my full album choice would have been Blood on the Tracks by Bob Dylan.
Little Bobby Zimmerman.
Yeah, little Bob Zimmerman. As his friends like us call him, Zimmy.
Okay, so let's get to the choosing of the things. And guys, I hope you don't break up with me after I choose these. So just bouncing around here. Breaking us up is hard to do is a fun choice, and we'll get gloomier from here.
It's got hand claps. You really can't beat hand claps.
And let's go with Pictures of You because I've been on a post-punk kind of kick today. And let's go with Crazy because it's Willie freaking Nelson and Patsy Cline, and it's just going to be a tie. How about Only the Lonely by Lonely Roy Orbison?
Or you mean Crying?
Sorry, Crying by Lonesome Roy Orbison.
Richard won that week.
He did?
Well, by the way that the things are situated.
I thought you had a double.
What was my double?
Oh, the whatever Anderson, the one the Anderson had.
Yeah.
Breaking Up is hard to do?
Yeah.
So he still won by 1 point.
How was that?
6.
Well, for someone who's getting dumped,
Yeah.
but I think it's worthwhile for me to win.
Well, we are kind of...
Listen, we're 193 episodes into the season, and we're all tied up at 244 apiece.
We cannot be 109 episodes into this season.
This season?
That's
I'm sorry.
impossible.
On episode 193.
Oh, my God.
We are 40-something.
Into this season, we're tied.
And we're tied.
It's coming down to the wire, boys.
So the holidays are coming, so start thinking about your extravagant gifts for your loved ones, and you can tune
Well, I don't have a loved one to give anything to now, apparently. So
Richard is now a resident of the studio where we record our podcast. We got a cot over in the corner.
It's okay hey Jeff, it's okay if I crashed in the studio for like 6 months.
Sure, buddy. Yeah, there's a bucket you can go in over there in the corner.
Nice.
This has been the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name, as always, is Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.